Hello, and welcome back to Defying the Stars Tarot and Astrology for another weekly Pick a Deck reading. This week, we will be asking the decks, what is next for me? This can be any kind of thing that you're curious about in your life. If you have a particular situation in mind, try to keep that in mind as you're picking your deck. But if you're just generally curious, you want to know what's next on the horizon, we will explore some possibilities with our deck today. So for today's decks, we have number 1, our Shakespeare Oracle deck. Number 2, the Cat Tarot deck. Number 3 will be our Adventurers Tarot Empress deck. And the last one will be the Modern Witch Tarot. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into what is next. Welcome to the reading for deck number 1. This is going to be the Shakespeare Oracle. And once again, we are asking what's next in your life? What's coming up for you? So I've already shuffled this deck. We're going to cut it and pull our first 3 cards as we usually do. So we're going to go ahead, cut it there. And let's get these cards going. All right, first card out is the Lady of Quills. The second is the Temperance card. And the third is the Moon. And Temperance and the Moon are reversed here, so we will read those as reversals. All right. Starting off with our Lady of Quills. Let me do a quick check because I always forget in this deck who is Quills in terms of the normal arcana. So I'm going to just check the book real quick. All right, we've got chalices, coins, quills, and scepters. Okay, so the quills are going to be our swords, I believe, which I thought would be the case because the pen is mightier than the sword after all. Yes, this is going to be swords. So the Lady of Quills would be the tarot equivalent of the Page of Swords. This card is a messenger in traditional tarot. This card is somebody who is bringing new information, who is sometimes gathering information. This card can be seen as someone who's a little bit of a spy, someone conducting espionage. What I get in this intuitively in this reading is that you are going to be receiving some new information in the near future. This could be somebody reaching out that you haven't heard from in a while. It could be an offer of some kind. It could be a secret that somebody was keeping that you find out. Let's get some more info from the other cards to figure out what that might be all about. So with Temperance reversed, the card of Temperance is all about growth through adversity. When you think of the word temperance, what does that relate to? It relates to smithing and tempering metal. You put it through various stages of heating and cooling to temper it. And if I got the process of tempering wrong there, please don't shoot the messenger. That's my basic understanding of it, but I know I probably don't know anything. But the idea is that you're going through these stages of effort. There are things that are happening to you that temper you into a stronger material, right? So when we have Temperance reversed, what we could be seeing is a situation where you have been going through it and you're not quite out of it yet. We could also have a situation where that is on the horizon. And I'll get some clarifier cards to try to get a better idea of what exactly is going on here. But what I get intuitively from Temperance reversed here, we have Prospero on the card. Prospero, if you've ever read The Tempest, is a bit of a doozy of a character. He is very egotistical. He is not a very nice man, and he pays for it in a lot of ways. He gets shipwrecked. He's stuck on this island. He is abusing the natives. There's, once you get into literary criticism, there's a whole deal there. But he is someone who has to really go through a lot of pain before he learns any lessons whatsoever. This could be a signal that you are someone who learns the hard way. This could also just be a reminder to handle yourself with more patience, more grace, to accept the things that are coming your way, and to try to take them for what they are. Which, in the sense of this card, is they are trials. They are things for you to endure, for you to learn from, to grow from, and you will come out better on the other side. With our last card, we have the Moon reversed. The Three Witches. I love this card. This is the Three Witches of Hamlet who, do their double toil and trouble. With the Moon reversed, what we have is a situation where things are murky, things are unclear. There is a lot of illusion. There is a lot of fear and anxiety, and not a lot of truth and clarity, especially when the moon is reversed like this. If you get the moon upright, it can be a chance to take deeper insight into a situation. It can be a chance to see through some of the things that aren't visible in the stark light of day. But when the moon is reversed like this, it's almost like a new moon. It's like there's not enough moonlight for you to see in the dark, and it is making things unclear and scary. I think with these three cards together, what I'm getting is that the Page of Swords may be bringing information that you don't necessarily want to hear, but you have suspected for a while. It could be bad news. And I don't want to give anyone bad news here. That's not anything I came in with the intention of doing. I hoped everyone's reading would be wonderful news, but it's never all bad news. It is a cycle. At least in my belief system, you can take it for whatever it is. This is my personal belief, but it comports with the way that things are depicted in tarot. You think about the Wheel of Fortune card, you think about the World card. There are cycles. There are times when you are up and times when you are down. There are cycles of experience in this life. And that is what makes tarot so effective, is that it has captured some of those cornerstones of the cycles of experience. And the cards allow you to see kind of where you are in those cycles. So here I am seeing the start of a cycle that has maybe been anticipated for a while. It's not going to be comfortable, but it is going to be something that you can grow from. And you may find that there is some answer to some of the lack of clarity you've been experiencing of late. Let's get some clarifier cards, though, to try to give some more insight into this. What's next for you? So let's get some insight, if we can, on this Page of Swords, the Lady of Quills. Judgment. Vincentio. Okay, Judgment here. Judgment modifying the Page of Swords tells me that there's going to be a consequence for someone. There's going to be a reckoning, a comeuppance. This may not be for you. This may be for someone around you. But basically, what I'm getting is that somebody's about to be found out. Somebody is about to have their behavior exposed. And that may not be you and your behavior. It may be someone around you, but just because you're not facing the judgment doesn't mean that you're not going to feel the effects of this or be caught in the crossfire by chance. But somebody's been doing something that they're going to probably have to answer for very soon. Um, let's get a clarifier on temperance here. Okay, we have the Eight of Swords, and let's just turn it upright so that we can get a better view of this card. And the quote here: "Thy spirit within thee hath been at war," from Henry IV, Part 1. So I think what this card is telling us is that you have been warring with yourself on whether or not to trust what you're hearing, whether or not to, perhaps you already know what's been going on with this person who's facing judgment, and you've been warring with yourself on deciding whether or not to expose them or just keep quiet and mind your own business. Um, or you have been suspecting something and you have been struggling with whether to call this person out or wait for things to unfold on their own. I think with the Page of Swords card here in the Judgment, I don't get the sense that the Page of Swords is you, the questioner here. I get the sense that this is coming in externally. That's just my intuition. Every situation could be different, but my sense is that this is finally going to resolve this thing where you've been at war with yourself. This Eight of Swords is reversed, which to me indicates that it's not something that is going to be cleared up neatly. It may be that even after whatever you've been warring with yourself about comes to light, there may still be questions. There may still be inner conflict over what to do about it. If you find out that someone around you has been doing something that they are about to face the consequences for, you may have an inner struggle over whether to forgive this person or um, to hold them to account. And that's not to say you can't do both. There could very well be situations where you can say, here's what you did, here's the consequence for that, but if you pay the consequence, I'm going to forgive you and we can move on. This is a personal choice. This is and I think that personal choice is the struggle here. Is that's going to be a difficult choice to make, and that's going to be part of that tempering process of, okay, you see this, you see what's happened, how are you going to choose to grow from it? How are you going to choose to move on? And the answer may be different for different people. For some people, the thing that may make you stronger is being able to say, no, I can't have this in my life. I love you, but I've got to cut ties. Um, for others, the choice may be, okay, I'm not just going to walk away from you. I'm going to deal with what you did and make sure that you are held accountable, but I'm going to forgive you and keep being a part of your life. There are probably other options on the spectrum too. But this is what's going to be happening, this inner conflict of what's the right way here. And I would say that you need to listen to that inner voice as your guide. When we get into the moon card next, um, that's where things are murky. That's where it's hard to tap into your own intuition on this matter. So let's see if the clarifier for that card has any more guidance in that realm. The Queen of Scepters reversed, and that is going to be Catherine of Aragon. That is Henry VIII's first wife, if I remember correctly, but don't quote me on that. I don't want to get shot by history majors. But the Queen of Scepters is going to be your Queen of Wands. This is a fiery person. This is very active energy. With the Queen of Wands coming in reversed here, I get the sense that it's going to be hard to decide on firm action, but that is what is called for here. There's going to be hesitation. You're not going to be sure what to do. But at the end of the day, the best thing for you is going to be to come to a decision and act on it swiftly, because that is what the Queen of Wands does. She evaluates the situation and she takes decisive action. She does not wait around. She does not dilly-dally. Is she is a creature of action above all else. Action above feeling, above thought, above material consideration. So when it comes to seeing her energy here, even reversed like this, what is being called for is for you to come out of your sort of stagnant, indecisive position and make your move. This is a lot. I would like to do one more thing in this reading here, because this is more of a predictive reading, not so much an advisory reading, but I feel like when you hear about something that could be coming up in your life, what you want to know is how you should handle it. So I'm going to pull in a homemade deck. Please humor me here. I made this homemade deck of advice cards. They are a little janky. They're not, necessarily camera ready, but I love this deck so much. I pull from it almost every day to just kind of get an idea of what I should be focusing on, what I should be doing that day. And I would like to offer it up in service to you now. So let's just see. We'll throw it over here with our other deck and pull out a card. All right. Our advice here is bask in the love that surrounds you. What I'm getting from this is that you are going to be in a difficult situation. There's going to be inner conflict. There may be outer conflict. It is going to be hard to come to decisions to deal with whatever the details of the situation shake out to be. But the thing that will carry you through this is to remember that you are loved. And I don't care whether you have 100 friends and family around you who love you, or if you are all alone in this world, you are loved. And again, that's my personal belief. But if you're here consulting the cards, I suspect that you may share some of that belief. There is a source of universal love out in the ether, and it is all around you. So even if you feel completely alone in this situation, remember that you are part of a universal whole that loves you deeply, and it will not give you more than you can handle, and everything will come out for your greatest good in the end if you just bask in that love, trust, and listen to your intuition. I believe that all will come out well. With that, I am going to sign off of this reading. Thank you so much for being here. Please leave me a comment and let me know how this reading was for you, if it made a lot of sense, if it was batshit crazy. I am here for all of it. I would love to hear from you. But if I don't, I hope to see you again in a future reading. Thank you for being here. Hello, and welcome to deck number 2 for our Pick a Deck reading today. What is next in your life? What's coming up for you? I have already shuffled the deck, so we're going to go ahead and cut it and get straight into our reading. We'll pull 3 cards, and we'll do some initial reading, and then we will get clarifiers on those. Okay, so our first card is the King of Cups. Our second card is going to be the Three of Wands reversed. And our third card is going to be the Death card. Okay. First things first, the King of Cups. The King of Cups is a very well emotionally balanced presence, someone who is emotionally mature, able to separate their feelings from their thoughts, their actions, able to process their feelings before jumping into anything. They are a compassionate figure. They are able to empathize with others without becoming codependent or um, or giving away too much of themselves. With the King of Cups coming in here, because of the nature of this reading, because it's what's next for you, I see this as a person coming into your life or returning to your life or asserting their presence in your life. I know that's a lot of ors, but I don't sense that the King of Cups is you, the questioner. I sense that this is a figure in your life. Um, this person may already be in your life, but they are going to come into prominence and significance in some way. That may be, again, a new person coming into your life or someone who's already there. Um, Moving along to the Three of Wands reversed. The Three of Wands is the start of a journey. It is a collaborative undertaking. With it being reversed here, I sense that that is going to be stalled. There's going to be a situation where you are ready to get started on something. It could be a literal journey, a road trip, a vacation, something like that. It could be something related to career, passion projects. It could even be a relationship, a friendship, a romantic partnership. It could be any of those things. But it is going to be a little stalled here. We are going to have a situation where you think you're ready to get started and something comes up. Um, it may be that you need to take a step back and do a little further planning and preparation before you can go forward. It may be that you have to reevaluate the whole thing. With the Death card coming in here, death is, don't be alarmed if this is one of your first readings, you're not familiar with the cards. This does not mean somebody in your life is going to die. The Death card here signifies an ending. Um, and in tarot, everything is a cycle, including death. Death is a cycle of endings and new beginnings. So, what I am sensing here from this Death card is that something has to come to an end before something new can begin. Now, this may relate back to this Three of Wands. You may be ready to get started on something and realize that there's something that you need to let go of in order to get going. There may be a relationship that is holding you back, someone in your life who is not serving you. There may be um, there may be other situations. There could be debt that needs to be resolved. There could be a dead-end job. There could be a lot of things that could be keeping you from fulfilling this next step. And so the Death card is an invitation to invite you to consider. I just said an invitation to invite. Oy vey. I am shooting this early in the morning. The Death card is an invitation to consider what is no longer serving you and to go ahead and cut ties with those things. So take some time to think on that. I wouldn't say just go start ending everything in your life on a whim. Take some real time to evaluate that and see what it is that may no longer be serving you. We're going to go ahead and dive into some clarifier cards to try to get a better idea of what is coming up here. So in terms of this King of Cups figure, how are they going to come into your life or come into renewed significance in your life? What is that all about? All right. With our clarifier there, we have the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups tells me that you feel very close to emotional fulfillment. The Nine of Cups, nine is the kind of the culmination of the number cycle of 1 through 9. Once you get into double digits, it sort of curves back on itself. We won't get into numerology too much here, but nine is the culmination of things. It is a culmination of everything that has come before. It is considered complete. In tarot, we have 10. We go up to 10 in the minor arcana. So it's not quite fully complete in the sense that the 10 of cups might be, but we're very close. This is a fulfillment in the moment. It is a fulfillment for possibly quite a few moments. It is not a fulfillment that you pass on down to your offspring or to the people around you. It is a personal fulfillment. I think that with the 9 of cups modifying the King of Cups, there are a few possibilities here. The first thing that comes to mind is that there is someone in your life who you look up to because they appear to be quite personally fulfilled. They seem to have achieved what they need to achieve to be happy, joyful, content. And you are aspiring to something similar. You are looking up to this person. You are trying to achieve what they have achieved. Second thing that comes to mind is that this person brings out those feelings in you. You feel like being with this person, spending time with them, having a connection with them brings you an emotional fulfillment that you have been lacking or searching for some time. I feel like these scenarios are equally possible. I would follow the one that feels right to you. If you have this person in your life, I suspect that you would know pretty immediately which one is the case. Um, those are the two possibilities that are strong in my mind. But how does this relate to our Three of Wands reversed scenario? How does this all come together? Okay, more wands. We have the Six of Wands. With the Six of Wands, we are called to balance our energy, to balance our activity. With the Six of Wands, you see this kitten attempting to tackle six little fluff balls all at once. That's a little too much to handle, probably, right? Um, so with the Three of Wands reversed, what I am seeing is that in order for you to move forward with what you want, in order for you to move forward on this journey, you need to balance how much you have taken on. You need to consider what is truly important, truly necessary, and what needs to let go. And that comes right back to our death card. What is no longer serving you? I get the sense that you've bitten off more than you can chew. You've got a lot going on in your life. Maybe you are working crazy hours. Maybe you are trying to fulfill a lot of different commitments. Those could be, community organizations, friends that you're trying to help out. If you're in school, you could have maybe a few too many extracurriculars. These are the kinds of scenarios that come to mind if you are in this sort of a Six of Wands situation. It is time to consider where your energy is best spent and how much you have to give. Because it doesn't matter whether all of these commitments are equally important or equally have equal value in your mind. Yes, every person or organization or thing that you're trying to help or participate in may have great value, but it doesn't change the amount of energy you have to give to it. So it's time to take an internal inventory of how much do you have to give? How much energy do you have to expend on these things? And which of those things are going to be important to continue to devote energy to? And which are the ones that maybe have to be on the cutting block? It's a tough decision to make. As someone who chronically bites off more than they can chew, I completely understand. But as somebody who chronically bites off more than they can chew, I also know that the energy does run out. It is not infinite, especially if, coming back to the idea of emotional fulfillment in the Nine of Cups, if the things you are doing are not rejuvenating you, if they are not recharging your batteries, if they are not refilling your well of passion and drive, then you are going to end up with a low battery. So take stock, take inventory of your life, figure out where your energy needs to go and what is truly fulfilling you. Coming back to this King of Cups character, this may be someone who can advise you, who can help you to understand where you are draining and where your energy is best served. This can be somebody who can listen with an open mind and give you solid advice. It could also be that if you are in a scenario where you are seeking a relationship with this person, in order to have that, you may need to balance things out to make the time and energy for that thing. Again, there's two scenarios here. Go with the one that makes the most sense to you. Let's get one final clarifier on the Death card. The Ace of Cups reversed. All right. The Ace of Cups is the limitless fountain of love out in the universe. It is tapping into that universal flow. It's reversed here, modifying this Death card. Whatever it is that needs to end, that is no longer serving you, is preventing you from accessing this fountain, this Ace of Cups. Once you clear out that dead weight, once you clear out think about gardening, deadheading your plants, getting rid of the dead stuff so new blossoms can form. That's what is being called for here. There's something that wants to come into your life. There is a source of love and fulfillment and joy that is waiting for you to access it, but you have to make room for it to come in. This is a beautiful opportunity here. It may be somewhat painful figuring out how to balance it all, how to access it. It may be painful to decide what you have to give up in order to have this, but what you will gain in the end is so much more. And it is truly a path toward meaningful fulfillment rather than fleeting happiness. It's a wonderful thing, and I encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity. I am going to do something I did for the first deck as well. I'll do it with all my decks this time, just to be fair. I am going to pull out an advice deck. It is homemade. It is janky. It is made from little note cards from Dollar Tree. I won't even deny it. It's not camera ready, so humor me. But I wrote out pieces of advice on all of these cards, and I like to pull from it every day just to see what I need to keep in mind, what's important. So I'm going to ask this deck to give you a little advice as well on how to handle this situation. Make your home your palace. Okay. So in line with the idea of maybe you've bitten off more than you can chew, this is a call to spend some more time on yourself, your immediate environment, your physical needs. Um, Take some time to check in with yourself, those that you may be living with. Um, if they're part of your home palace, then that's part of this. But take some time to when you take the idea of making your home your palace. Well, first of all, if it's going to be a palace, you're going to want to spend more time there. If you're not spending much time at home, if you are go 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 go, this is a call to slow down. Spend some more time at home. Spend some more time and rest. But also, take care of that space. Um, Keep it clean. Keep it stocked with the things that you need. Um, Go grocery shopping, maybe. All of those things factor into making your home a place of refuge and respite and rejuvenation. A lot of our words there, rather than a truck stop on your way to the next thing. Your home should not be a truck stop. It should be the place that you want to be. So, in terms of everything that's going on here, take some time off. Take some time to take care of yourself, your immediate environment. Make your home a place that you want to be. Because if what you're looking for, going back to the idea that this could be a potential relationship, if what you're looking for is someone to share your life with, to share your experiences with, you need a place for that to happen. You need a place for that intimacy to form and grow. I don't, thinking back to my 20s, trying to date someone with roommates or who just lives in a hot mess is not a great environment. That person isn't going to want to be there. They're going to feel uncomfortable. They're going to be like, should we go to my place instead? But they're going to have that kind of thing in the back of their mind of like, eesh, um, this person doesn't really have it together. And I'm not saying that that's going to scare off the King of Cups, because the King of Cups is very understanding and empathetic, and they're going to be willing to support you through the changes that you make, as long as you are showing that effort and that intention. So consider making a home for yourself. Consider taking care of those things first, and consider releasing some of the things that are preventing you from doing that, whether that's, social endeavors, um, if you are working a lot of hours, but you don't really need to financially, all of those kinds of things. I'm not saying to quit your second job if you need it to make ends meet, by no means, but consider cutting out whatever is too much. Consider cutting out whatever is not necessary. I hope that this reading has been helpful and informative. I would love to hear a comment from you as to whether it was on point, totally off base. I'd like to hear, regardless, whatever the feedback is. With that, I will sign off. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you again in a future reading. Welcome to deck number 3, our Adventurer's Tarot, the Empress deck. We have gone ahead and pre-shuffled, so we're going to cut the deck and get right into it. This reading, again, is what's coming up for you, what's next in your life. So we'll do 3 cards, then pull our clarifiers and see what's coming up. All right, first is our 3 of Constructs reversed. Second is the 2 of Constructs reversed. And third is the 2 of Oozes. Okay. This is going to be more of an intuitive reading, as this is not a traditional tarot deck. It is It is a modification, a different kind of thing. It's beautiful, but bear with me because it's not going to match up with the tarot you know and love. Um, so, first off, the Three of Constructs reversed. Constructs are a thing that is created for a purpose. Um, Oftentimes, in the world of tabletop role playing games, the construct is a magical creation. It is a combination of magic and science, engineering that becomes something. Um, Autonomous, something that fulfills a function, something that may, some constructs become self aware, um, they become their own entities. Um, with the three in particular here, and the overall card number of the deck is going to be, well, it looks like they are the same on both of the construct cards. So I think that they have kind of bundled them together. So I will ignore that number on it. But with the three, we have a collaboration, we have a harmony to that energy. With that reversed, what I'm sensing is that you are attempting to create something, perhaps in collaboration with someone else. You are perhaps struggling with something that you've created. It's not working the way that you want it to. Um, and so the scenario here is you're trying to figure out how to create this thing that you really want to bring into the world, how to work harmoniously with others to make that happen, how to work in harmony with your creation to make it the thing you want it to be. Um, for me, the thing that comes to mind is like writing. I was a creative writing major in college. I've done a lot of writing of all sorts, and sometimes you get that thing where you know exactly what you want to say, but you can't get it out. That comes to mind. Um, or you've written this thing out and it's not hitting the way that you thought it would. It's not carrying the theme that you were going for, the message you were trying to send. So I'm seeing that there may be a bit of a struggle there. The Two of Constructs, following that right up, um, with two, you have a duality. You have what could be opposing forces, or it could be, kind of two sides of the coin. With the Two of Constructs reversed, I sense that blah, I lost words entirely right there. Forgive me. I sense that there may be some internal struggle. You may be battling with yourself, struggling to come to a decision about what you want to do here, uh, struggling to um, struggling to merge two concepts together that are in friction or opposition. There's a struggle here. Don't worry, we're going to get clarifiers on some of this, but with our final card, we have the Two of Oozes. Um, Oozes in tabletop role playing games are they are just these blobs of things that can swallow you. Think, quicksand, except it's also dissolving you. Um, there are different kinds of oozes. They do different kinds of damage to you. Um, some are scarier than others, but the idea is you are being consumed by this thing that is it's viscous, it's not solid, it's a hard thing to fight against because your weapons may just kind of go right through it. It can a lot of times with oozes, when you're fighting them, they can split themselves and become two oozes, and now you've got double the problem. I think with the Two of Oozes here, what I'm seeing is that the more that you struggle, the worse the problem is becoming. It's like quicksand. The more you try to get out, the deeper you sink. Um, or, the more you try to tackle this problem, the more it just replicates itself and becomes a bigger problem. What we see on this card, though, is that there is a hand reaching out, trying to pull you out of the ooze. Um, if that hand is reaching out to you, take it. Um, with these first two cards being reversed, what I sense is that so much of this is happening privately and internally. I sense that you are not sharing these things, your struggles, with others. You are not. You are not broadcasting your problems, which can be an admirable quality. There are some people that don't know when to keep it inside, but it is okay to ask for help, especially and it is okay to accept help when it's being offered. And I get the sense that it is being offered here. Um, there may be some pride at work. You want this creation to be your own. You don't want it to be a collaboration. Um, you want that pride of, hey, I made this all by myself and I didn't need any help. I didn't need, to borrow from other people's ideas or resources or whatever. But accepting help doesn't have to mean that it's not still yours and a source of pride to you. Let's get some clarifiers. I think that they're very much needed in this scenario. So we've got the Three of Constructs reversed. We've got that disharmony, that difficulty with collaboration. What else is coming in that vein? Okay, they're just throwing down the constructs here. So the Four of Constructs reversed. I sense that, again, with the ooze, the more we struggle privately with this, the worse it is becoming. Um, when you get to four, four is a number of stability. It is solid. It is reliable. It is not going to topple over. With this reversed here, we're creating a situation of instability. This project, this endeavor is in danger of losing the four legs it stands on, because we've got so much friction here. We've got so much internal conflict. Um, let's see if we can get a clarifier on the Two of Constructs reversed. What is the source of friction? What is the source of the conflict? Okay, the Ally. Two scenarios are popping into my head here. There could be a scenario where the person that is trying to help you is the problem. Um, I think that is probably unlikely here, but it could be that, sometimes the people who love us, who care about us, want to help so badly that they are going to do anything they can think of, whether they have talked it through with you and found out if it's what you really want or not. Um, I run into this a lot with my husband. He is a doer. He is extremely protective. And when he sees me struggling, he will jump to conclusions about why I'm struggling and what I need. And he will try to offer me things. And when I say, no, I don't want that, then all of a sudden, why aren't you taking my help? Why are you being so stubborn? Why are you like this? And if there had been more communication, if there had been more awareness there, then the help could have been better. So I would invite you to consider whether this is a communication problem. If you have an ally that's trying to help you and it feels like their help is just hurting, is that because they are not a good ally to you? Or is it because you're keeping too much to yourself? Is it because you're not sharing your struggles? Is it because you're not talking it through? Think about those kinds of things. The other thing that could be happening here, the other scenario that comes to mind, is that you have been struggling like this and that ally is coming, because the question of this reading is, what's next for you? It could be that ally is approaching, that they are coming in to help. It is your job then to be on the lookout for that help and to accept it gracefully when it comes. Um, it could also be that you are just, again, it could be a source of pride. It could be a matter of, I really don't want help with this. I want to be able to say I did it on my own. And it may be worth having a conversation with this person that wants to help you. If that's really the way you want it to be, and the friction is that they're trying to help you and they won't stop, you may need to explain to them, I really feel like it's important that I do this on my own, that I figure this out on my own. But I think that probably the thing that this reading is really saying is that it's time to accept help. We go back to the Two of Oozes, that hand reaching out. By not accepting that hand, you could just be sinking into your own end. Um, Not that you personally are going to end, but you could be damning this project, this endeavor, this thing that you want to happen. Um, that could be a relationship, a creative project, a work project, whatever the scenario that makes sense to you is. If you don't take that hand, it could all be over here. Let's get one last clarifier on that Two of Oozes. What kind of ooze are we sinking into? What do we need to do here? Okay, we have the Warlock reversed. Warlocks in tabletop role-playing games are an interesting bunch because they draw their abilities and powers from a higher source. Not necessarily a divine source, but generally more of a dubious source, let's put it that way. Um, there are strings attached in this relationship. What I'm seeing with the Warlock reversed here is that I think you are afraid that strings are attached to this help. That if you say yes, if you take that hand, that you are going to be indebted to this person, that you are going to owe them one, that they are going to have some kind of power or control over you that you don't want to give them. I think in this scenario, though, with the ally upright, I don't get the sense that that is the truth. I get the sense that that is a fear. Um, all of these reversals in here with all of these construct cards reversed, I really get the sense that a lot of this is internal struggle that you are fighting with yourself. And that is causing you a lot of fear, anxiety, and a lack of clarity to the situation where there is help available and they can be trusted, but you're gonna have to accept that hand of help. Um, this is a tough one. This feels very on point for me because I'm an only child. I don't know how to not go it alone. Um, it can be really hard to take that trust fall with somebody else, especially with something that means a lot to you. Um, so we're gonna wrap this up with an advice card and give the same disclaimer I've given on the other deck readings. This is a homemade deck. I took a bunch of note cards from Dollar Tree and wrote out pieces of advice, pieces of wisdom as they came to me. And I like to draw from this deck every day just to get kind of a general piece of wisdom to guide me. And I think that this could be helpful here too. So please pardon my not ready for prime time cards. And we will cut them over here and get you one too. Okay. Promote yourself. That's interesting given that a lot of this reading has been about going it alone. I think the meaning here, when it says promote yourself, there's a communication involved there. That means go out and share with others your skills and abilities. Show off who you are and make that a priority. Believe in your own worth and believe in the capacity of others to see that. I think in connection with this reading, what it is saying is, hey, what you're working on, what you're trying to do, is important, it's impressive, it's worthwhile. And this is a time to trust that other people are going to see that and they are going to want to support you, help you, um, give you opportunities. Because opportunities don't come in a vacuum. Um, they don't just appear out of thin air. They come from relationships, they come from communication. Um, you know, Sometimes the universe sends things into your life, they send people your way, they send, you know, connections your way, but it's still your responsibility to engage with those things, communicate, take that opportunity. Because, uh, you have to be careful in this world. If a Nigerian prince promises you a lot of money, if you just give him some startup costs, um, you have to evaluate that opportunity for what it is and realize that it may be a big fat scam. But once you've done that evaluation, if it seems like you have to engage to evaluate, um, you have to test those things. The reason we know that the Nigerian prince email is a scam is because we've all seen it, heard about it. And that is communication. Things have been communicated to us, so we know to be on the lookout for it. But sometimes there's not that pre-communication, and we have to test things out for ourselves, and we can only do that by engaging and communicating. Um, if you're not going to know if the person reaching out is providing a real opportunity or trying to take advantage until you test it out a little bit. You can trust your intuition here. You can trust your internal guide to keep you safe, but don't hide from it. Don't hide from opportunities. Don't hide from other people, because that will cut you off and leave you alone in your struggles. So promote yourself, talk to other people about what you're doing, talk about your goals, your endeavors, your labors, and I think that you will find that the help you need is available. I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope that this was helpful and informative. Please feel free to leave me a comment on this video. Let me know that you picked deck 3 and let me know if it was way off base or pretty on point. I'm always curious to hear from you. With that, I thank you for being here and I hope to see you in a future reading. Hello and welcome to deck number 4 of our weekly Pick a Deck reading. This week we are asking, what is next for you? What is coming up in your life? I have already shuffled this deck, so we're going to go ahead and cut it and pull our first 3 cards. So card number 1 is going to be our Page of Swords. This is very interesting because my first deck started with the Page of Swords. All right, 5 of Pentacles reversed and the Magician reversed. Okay. All right, so the Page of Swords is a messenger. The Page of Swords is somebody who is either conveying or obtaining information to conveying information to someone else or taking information back. Spying, for example, doing recon, taking that information back to someone else. With the Page of Swords here, in the first deck, I felt very much like the Page of Swords was a separate entity. In this case, I feel like you may well be the Page of Swords in this scenario. That you are either, you have information, you are either gathering information for whatever purpose, or you are in a position to share some information with somebody else. Maybe you are struggling with that decision of whether to share that information or not, or how and when to share that information. I sense that it's more that you are looking for information, that you are trying to figure something out. You are trying to find an answer to a question. Isn't everyone who comes for a tarot reading, but I feel like there's something specific in your life that you are researching or investigating in some way. Um, you are, yeah, you're kind of out there. You may not be fully comfortable with this role, um, but you are in a situation where you are either gathering some information or taking information to someone else. Um, with our second card, the Five of Pentacles reversed, I sense that we have been going through a bit of a rough patch. There, hold on. I am thinking through, trying to sort out what is my mess of brain jumble of associations with the Five of Pentacles and what is intuition here. My intuition is telling me that we've got a bad feeling here. You yourself may be having a bad feeling, like you think that something is on the horizon that may be difficult, that may be a hardship. You are perhaps anticipating some kind of downturn. This could be the first thing that comes to mind is like a work scenario where you are doing a lot of questioning and guessing and trying to read between the lines of what's going on with your job. Maybe there are layoffs under discussion. If you're a federal employee, I really feel I'm one too, so I completely get it. Um, there's a lot of questions and not a lot of answers, and perhaps you are seeking information to try to cope with whatever may be coming without a firm understanding of what's coming. That's the first thing that comes to mind, and that could just be my personal experience coming through. Um, another possibility here is that, with the Five of Pentacles reversed, it could be that a bad situation is coming to an end. That would be the happiest reading of this, and I hope that that's the case for all of you listening. But my sense is more that there's a feeling of dread in the air. There's a kind of preparing for the worst kind of mentality here that I'm picking up. With the Magician reversed coming in at the end, I think that there's a lot of questioning and a lot of worrying. There's a lot of trying to gather information, trying to get all your ducks in a row, trying to predict what's coming, trying to prepare for that. But with the Magician reversed, we're lacking a sense of autonomy. We're lacking a sense of personal power in this scenario, which would make a lot of sense if we're talking about, anticipating layoffs at work or something of that nature. You definitely feel powerless and out of control. It's not up to you, right? But when I see the Magician reversed like that, I feel like what it's calling for is to take the power into your own hands. Um, you may not be able to prevent what somebody else is going to do. You can't prevent, if somebody just says this whole department is cut, that is what it is. What you can do is take more of the power into your own hands of manifesting your own destiny. I know manifestation can be a kind of it feels very wishy-washy sometimes. It feels very much like, oh, you think you can just repeat something enough and it will happen. You think if you just believe hard enough, it's going to happen with no work. That's not what I'm talking about here. But the first step in shaping your reality into what you want it to be, the first step in taking control of that is believing that you can. And once you take that first step of, okay, I can control what I can control. Then you can start thinking through, okay, what is it that I can do affirmatively, proactively? What can I do on my end to make my life what I want it to be? And then you can start thinking about things like, okay, I'm going to stop thinking about what if I lose my job, and I'm going to start thinking about what job do I want? What job am I going to go get? What job am I going to find? What do I need to put on my resume? What do I need in terms of training, education? Once you start thinking about it in that sense, you can kind of take that power back and become the magician upright, who is someone who seemingly pulls things out of thin air, can make something out of nothing. But it starts with that intention and that belief in your own ability. Let's pull some clarifier cards, because this it sounds like you're going through it. And I mean, I pull clarifier cards no matter what, but I really hope that these bring more clarity. So clarifying the Page of Swords, the Two of Pentacles reversed. Okay. With the Two of Pentacles reversed, I feel like this is confirmation that there is something's up in the air, something's undecided, that something may very well be related to your material well-being, like your paycheck. Um, but it's not you that has those things up in the air. I sense that it's out of your control. You are watching somebody else juggle these two pentacles, and it could go either way. And that's a scary place to be in. There are, in this card, we see the pentacles formed into an infinity symbol around them. To me, that indicates that, there are infinite possibilities here. They have been tied to these two coins and limited in that way. But that limitation is kind of it's been imposed on the situation. It's not a true limitation. Um, if you ignore the coins that are being juggled, if you ignore that immediate information and look past it, you can see that there's probably more than two options here. But things are up in the air. They are out of your control for sure. And that's a scary place to be in. So, of course, you are trying to navigate the situation. You are trying to do recon. You are trying to figure out what's going on. But that may be counterproductive in trying to figure out which of the options is going to be the one that pans out. You are perhaps ignoring other possibilities that are out there. With the Five of Pentacles reversed, let's get a clarifier on that. Four of Cups reversed. So I think what's happening here is that with the Four of Cups, I'm always struck by the way that we have three cups and we are ignoring the fourth cup that is being offered to us. Sometimes that can be a good thing. Sometimes it can be a good thing to be content with what you have and not worry about the shiny object that somebody is trying to distract you with. But sometimes it can be you're so fixated on keeping what you have that you are ignoring other opportunities and possibilities for greater fulfillment. And with it being cups, we're not talking about coins or pentacles here, where it's a direct impact on your material wealth. This is talking about your emotional state, your emotional well-being. Cups, water, that's all about feeling. I think that what this Four of Cups reversed indicates, especially modifying the Five of Pentacles reversed, is that there is a lot of fear of losing what you have, a lot of fear of, not necessarily fear, but a lot of effort going into trying to hold on and not lose something. But in so doing, we are missing an opportunity here. there is more on offer, but we've got to get out of that scarcity mindset. And I'm not saying that that's easy. Um, when you are, especially if my first thought is right, and this is about fear of losing a job, it's terrifying to try to think about anything other than how you're going to get by, how you're going to survive, how you're going to maintain the life that you love. Or even if you don't love your life, that fear that it could get worse. Those are so real and so present. And, the human brain is designed to go into that survival mode and to assess these threats and to fixate on them. But it can limit us because when we go into survival mode, we stop using the forefront of our brains, the logical reasoning part, the information processor. And going back to that Page of Swords, that's about gathering information, right? So what good is that information if you're not able to process it rationally, right? I think what's being called for here is to work on coming out of the fear and the protectiveness, coming out of that survival mode and trying to look at everything rationally and acknowledge what opportunities may be there, even if a door is closing on something else, and to assess those as rationally as possible. Again, easier said than done. Um, let's get one more clarifier on the Magician. All right, we have the Moon reversed. Things can be murky in the light of the moon. Sometimes that moonlight as opposed to daylight allows you to see things in a different way, allows you to form a new perspective. But sometimes it's just dark and scary, and every shadow seems like a monster, a threat. And I think that is the state that we're in right now. We are perceiving everything as a threat. We are so scared. And that is so hard to come out of. But if we can find a way through that fear, acknowledge that, yes, it's dark right now and that's making things look scarier than they are, that's when we'll be able to tap into the power of the Magician and take charge of things. Right now, that fear and lack of clarity is just making it so hard for you to see your own power and your own capability in this situation. It's a really tough one, guys. It's a really tough one. If you're going through it, I'm just so sorry. I don't want anyone to have to be feeling this, but I know so many are. Um, I, I think I've mentioned this before. I'm also losing my job. And it's so scary. And there's so much information to process. And it's hard to even figure out what rabbits to chase down the different rabbit holes. But the thing that I come back to in this reading is it's about taking charge of the situation. It's about figuring out what it is that you want to have happen. Figuring out what is, what is the ideal situation within the realm of possibility, because you may not be able to hold on to the job you have. You may not be able to take control of that, but you can start to think about, okay, what do I want my life to look like and how do I get there again? Even if you're happy with the way your life looks now, it's how do I get back there through different means, because the avenue that I was following is cut off to me. I'm going to wrap this up with an advice card. This is a handmade deck. It's janky. It's not camera ready. We got a card that wants to pop right out, so I'll go with it. It is something that I made for myself. These are handwritten cards made on little Dollar Tree note cards. Um, but I really like this deck because it's just a bunch of short statements of wisdom, advice. I can just go through it and grab one and get an idea of what to prioritize for the day, what I should be focused on. And the one that wanted to come out of the deck is have some fun. And I think that this is a reminder that even in such stressful, uncertain times, life goes on and there's still room for joy and happiness and fun, even when things are so scary and so uncertain. Um, I think especially what this calls for is to allow yourself to think about possibilities, allow yourself to imagine things, allow yourself to dream a little bit, um, allow yourself to be playful in your imaginings, in your goals, um, and maybe just take an hour or two to do something that's just fun, because I imagine you have been working so hard and feeling like you have to spend every minute trying to sort through this situation until you have an answer and a solution. And that is the quickest way to just burn yourself out and go into a depression. Take some time for things that bring you joy and fulfillment. Take some time for your hobbies, for your friends, for your family. Let yourself be comforted right now. It is not only not wrong to do that. It's not shameful, it's not lazy, but it's essential. You can't keep going without something to fuel you, without something to look forward to. So let yourself have some fun. Let yourself take a break from this issue. You can always come back to it, but let yourself have a break. Um, I'm going to leave it there. I would love to hear comments from you, if this matched up with what you're going through, if it made sense, or if it is um, seems way off base. Um, I know that the point of the reading was supposed to be what's next for you, and this seems to be a lot more about what's going on. Um, but I feel like it was the message that was calling for to be conveyed. So please let me know what you thought. And I hope to see you again in another reading under much happier circumstances. Thank you.